Hey kids, welcome to Lesson 15, Processing Arrays and General Purpose Functions. Over the next several exercises, we'll be creating a general purpose function to determine if a value is contained within an array. Over the course of these exercises, keep an eye out for the general pattern we are using, because you'll get to use it again to create a function of your own. To begin, we'll start simple. We'll write code that checks whether an array contains a specific value. At every index, your program should display true if the value at that index is a 5 and false other words. That means if the value is something, it should do that, else it should do something else. We have a do this. The starter code is similar to the past levels, but you'll notice that we use a loop to construct myArray rather than appending items one line at a time. You were also given a for loop you will use. Add an if statement inside the for loop to check if the value of the array at the current index is 5. If the value is equal to 5, write true to the console. Otherwise, write false to the console. Test your code to make sure it is working as you intend. An example output is below. Original, we have some numbers, and then false, 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 true, and all that. Let's go ahead and take a look at our code. It looks like we have a variable, random array, and is currently empty. We have a loop right here, and the loop saying it's currently set at 0. We want to run 15 times. What are we going to do 15 times? We're going to append an item. That means we're going to add an item to our bucket. This item is always going to go to the last spot. What are we going to add there? Well, we're going to add a random number between 0 and 10. That means our number can be 0 this time. We have a console.log statement that prints out original and the numbers. So this looks like that part of code right there. We have another for statement, and this says if our counter is at 0, we want to run through the entire list of the array. This looks like the code we've been using the entire lesson. This code here will run for the entire length of the index. Since it's not hard-coded, we don't have to change that number from 10 to 15 now. It's set to dot length or the length of the array, which is very helpful. I know I have to add an if statement because that's what the direction said. So let's drag an if statement in here. And if, what are we checking here? We want to check the random array. If random array, what are we looking for? If the value is equal to 5. That means our if statement is constantly going to check each number in that index to see if it is what? 5. So we're telling it to look in the index and checking to see if that index is equal to 5. If that happens, I want console.log to display true. That is only half of it. If you look up to our code here, it says original and then false. I don't have the word false anywhere in my code here. That means I'm going to add an else statement. This is going to be an if-else statement. It is either this or it's that. Let's write else. And in this part, we're going to have to put a curly Q brace. Inside that, we want to just put a console.log statement that says false. I am forgetting my semicolons on both of my statements. Don't forget your semicolons. And what's my code saying now is for every item in the array, if that index is equal to 5, write true. Otherwise, or else, write false. So if that index number isn't 5, it's just going to write false. Let's see if our idea works. Run. And original numbers, 4, 4, 5, so the third one should be true, and it looks like our third one is true. No other 5s, a whole bunch of falses. Let's try again. This one, no 5s at all. Let's try again, reset run. Looks like we have another one. We do have a true statement there, so that one is working. Looks like our code is working as we thought. Looking back to our do this, we added an if statement inside the for loop to check the value of the array to see if that one is equal to 5. It wrote true if that was the case. Otherwise, or else, it wrote false. We tested a code and it worked as we thought. Our output looks exactly like the output from our example. I think that's all we needed to do for this lesson. Let's see if code.org wants anything else. Nope. Good job, kids. I'll see you on the next lesson.